You know, Kenny Dillingham multitasking, transfer portal success, preparing for the Peach Bowl. I can relate to that as a multitasker myself. I host this show, and I'm also tasked with doing Anthony Totre's laundry for him. Happy Maroon Monday here on PHNX Sun Devils, presented by Neutral. Keep it tasty, Tempe. And of course, we are coming to you live from Studio K, presented by Circle K. Join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions do apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. BC, Jacob, Glenn, already in the chat. I am Erik Ruby. I am not joined by Anthony Totre. The man's been working so hard. He got a little cold. He got a little sick, and it's okay. We're giving him a day, but it's okay. I was out at practice. We have sound from Kenny Dillingham. We have some new transfer portal commits to talk about. And of course, the Peach Bowl inches closer and closer. I want to remind everybody, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. The march to 35,000 subscribers here at PHNX continues. I need us to hit that before the Peach Bowl. That's our goal. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. It helps us out a lot. And another man who helps us out a lot, basically the sixth man here of PHNX Sun Devils. He is the host of Sun Devil Spaces and so much more. It's the wonderful, crispest goatee mustache combo in the world, looking like Sparky, baby. It's Ralph Amsden. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I ever since I think I was on a stream a couple of weeks ago, I got hit with looking like fat Sparky. I've just leaned into it.
No, who said that?
I thought it was in the chat. I liked it.
Chat.
You
liked it. Okay. You didn't take offense to it.
No. I mean, healthy Sparky. It's the life we're living as ASU fans.
Dude, I will say
Big 12 championship after Big 12 championship.
You know what, Ralph? I actually messed up your intro. You are a fellow Big 12 champion right now. All of us in here are Big 12 champions. That, of course, includes Captain Redbeard behind the Mac, making all of the magic happen. Before we get into practice updates, Ralph, before we get into transfer portal recruits, guess what? You'll never believe it. Cam Skattebo given another honor, named first team AP All-American. Cam Skattebo, one of two running backs named with those honors. Ralph, how shocked are you?
You know what? It's like we've kind of zeroed in on watching Cam Skattebo all year, but we saw RJ Harvey up close. We saw Taj Brooks up close. This is a really great year to be getting honors like this, considering like there were a lot of very, very good running backs in this conference. I mean, we came into the year expecting Ollie Gordon to run away with all these awards. And so and I know a lot of people had a lot of faith in Cam Skattebo before the season, thought that, hey, if we can just keep our offensive line healthy, have any semblance of a passing game, you might see a really special year out of him. And now that he's racking up award after award, I'm trying to continue to remind myself there's a lot of good running backs out there. And this is it's a special year to be recognized as much as he's been recognized.
It's no small feat at all. It's kind of a testament to him that when I saw the notification, I was just like, yeah. So yeah, I mean, like that makes sense. Like it's earned. It's not really a shock at this point, but that doesn't take away from the countless hours and years that have gone to get him to this point, and of course to help Arizona State completely turn their season around. I mean, like you mentioned, just within the Big 12, there are people saying that Cam Skattebo going into the season wouldn't make first team all Big 12. This is first team All-America. Like this is every single school, every single player. There are two running backs in the entire country. The other one was the runner-up for the Heisman, in some people's mind, the rightful winner of the Heisman Award. And Cam Skattebo's coming in at 2, and you can make an argument like, hey, if you want to pick Cam Skattebo over Ashton Jeanty, like a lot of people would tell you you're wrong, but as a Sun Devil fan, I don't think that's wrong. I'm rolling with Cam Skattebo, and I think he's earned that type of respect from everybody.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just a phenomenal year. And the ripple effects of this are being felt right now, immediately. And I know it's something we're going to get into later, but Kanye Udo is 4 days away from an Arizona State visit.
Mm-hmm.
One of the better running backs in the country wants to come and have an opportunity to compete against the running backs that are currently on the roster to see who's going to be next in this long line of, Xavier Valade, Rashad White, Kalen Ballage of players that have gone on to have NFL opportunities.
Yeah, it's exciting because it's not just the fact that Kenny's kind of established this culture, right? It's Arizona State has continued something that they've had a long tradition of, which is really good running backs. But Cam is hitting a peak, rarely seen not just by Arizona State players in general, but just players. Period. Like, it's very rare to have a season in a player like Cam Skattebo. And yeah, we'll get a little bit more into transfer portal just to kind of wrap up the All-American team. Listen, Jordyn Tyson ends up with third team All-America nods from the AP, especially at the end of the season. You could argue he was playing like one of, if not the best wide receiver in college football. I more than earned for somebody who the Sun Devils for sure are missing, but his impact will be felt for a long time.
Yeah, very grateful that the Jordyn Tyson wasn't the kind of luggage that Deion Sanders wanted to keep around. And that's
Louis
no
luggage.
shot at Deion. He had a bevy of very good receivers this year and last. But again, somebody else's trash could end up being your treasure, and that's the nature of the transfer portal.
Yeah, it's fun because you can imagine a world with Jordyn Tyson next year and imagine a world where he gets better, right? Where he has more time to develop chemistry with Sam Levitt. That connection grew over the season and definitely was something that took hold, especially in the late weeks when he was just consistently killing it. And then you look at more weapons being added to your wide receiver room. Let's talk about transfers, man. Wide receiver, Clemson transfer Noble Johnson has committed to the Arizona State Sun Devils, adding another weapon. It was their first portal pledge. This is somebody that at 6'2", 210 pounds, obviously didn't put up a lot of numbers at Clemson in his redshirt freshman season, but he has 3 seasons of eligibility remaining, and he's going to try to help replace the void left by Xavier Guillory, who's out of eligibility, Melquan Stovall as well. It's another 6'2", big body guy that hopefully Sam Levitt's going to be able to develop chemistry with throughout the season.
Absolutely. And if you have any interest, went down the absolute weirdest Wikipedia rabbit hole on this one, because apparently Noble Johnson was the name of like one of the original silent film actors. So when you go to Google this kid to find out about him, you end up learning all sorts of things about the history of film in the United States. So enjoy that.
That should be like a fun game that we play, like which Noble Johnson was this about? Obviously, Noble Johnson, not the only transfer portal commit. In fact, this one might be the biggest get that Kenny's going to get for the entire transfer portal season, maybe except for one name we'll bring up in a second. Full circle moment for Eastern Michigan University transfer kicker. I don't know if it's Jesus or Jesus. I'm going to say Jesus Gomez. Jesus. The man who put Herm Edwards in the grave is coming home to Tempe, a veteran kicker, a consistent kicker, and one that was a massive part of the Eastern Michigan University win over your Arizona State Sun Devils when Herm Edwards was at the helm. What a strange but somewhat beautiful full circle moment for the kicker and the staff, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I have fond memories of that game.
Yeah.
For no other reason than they got to congratulate former Arizona State Sun Devil wide receiver and then assistant strength coach Gary Chambers on a nice win, and then spend the next week trying to convince people that no, Herm Edwards did not get fired on the field. He quit a couple of hours later. But yeah, I mean, this is one of the better kickers. I mean, I want to say that I knew about Jesus going into this year, and make it seem like I'm more of an expert than I really am. but we do these lists with Unafraid Show, and best returning kicker. He was somebody who would come up, somebody who can hit from 50, who hits 80% of his field goals. Did I ever think that he would be a Sun Devil? No. Did I think he might be a future NFL kicker? Sure. But the transfer portal is full of surprises. And Arizona State, I mean, privately telling people all year that they need people to be interested in coming over and playing special teams, even though Brad Denny did an interview earlier this season where they kind of made things out, everything's a-okay, and then it was just a couple of weeks later that Kenny Dillingham is sending out the bat signal for an open tryout. So we've known behind the scenes that this is something that they'd really, really like to get addressed. This is going to be an interesting situation because you have somebody who is going to be the presumptive starter already committed to the program, a program that has several other kickers, a couple with eligibility left, who are going to be kicking in a college football playoff format. So just very, very fascinating turn of events in how this whole thing works. I mean, Marquiston Douglas
Yeah.
is going to be playing for Arizona State while committed to another school. It's definitely a new day and age. If you're a soccer fan, maybe you're a little prepared for this as they do players on loan and things like that. But this is certainly a new day for college football.
Absolutely. And we have some Kenny sound specifically on allowing players to be with the team and play in the college football playoffs while also being in the transfer portal. And he, of course, brings up Marquiston in that. We'll get to that a little bit later in the show. I do have some sound from him now that I want to talk about just how recruiting is going in general. But I just want to read off a couple stats for Gomez, just so everybody who's not aware is aware. A second-team All-MAC selection in his junior season, 26 of 29 field goal attempts inside 40 yards, 14 of 18 from 40 to 49 yards, 6 of 11 from 50-plus yards out, all over 4 years at Eastern Michigan. In this past season, 20 of 25 field goal attempts. His 2 misses came behind 50 yards, so 2 out of 5 of his misses came from over half the distance of the field. He connected on a 57-yarder, which is the longest of his career, and he made 27 of 29 PATs as well. We're talking about the epitome of consistency. Of course, not perfect, but we'll take consistency over anything that we have gotten this season. But Kenny was asked, just in general, how recruiting has been so far with just the craziness of the transfer portal.
It's been good. I mean, we had 2 guys visit this weekend. 2 of the guys visit this weekend. 2 of them committed, and that's big time. For us to have 2 of the guys that were here this weekend commit and sign, which is definitely different. You can sign guys so fast. That's why the portal's just operating so fast. We'll have another guy show up today. We'll have about 7 guys, 5 to 7 guys show up midweek. Some other guys this weekend. So, we're not taking a lot of guys out of the portal. So we're being very, very selective with who we take, who we bring in. And the hardest thing in this process is seeing really good players and saying no. It's not saying yes to every really good player. It's meeting guys, getting around guys, and then being like, man, this dude's super talented, but I don't think it's going to fit, or I don't think it's going to work. It's the hardest part is saying no.
Now, I'm not saying that going into this season, Kenny was just taking anybody, because he wasn't. You had to fit a certain vision and a certain prototype as a player mentally and physically. But it is kind of crazy how far we've come, Ralph, where now we're talking about, hey, this season, like this upcoming transfer portal season, we have to be extremely selective as to who we are bringing in on this team, because A, not a lot of, you're too deep or transferring out, and B, there's a lot of demand to be an Arizona State University Sun Devil.
Absolutely. And I'm not sure he said, it's very possible. I don't pay attention to everything. I'm not sure he said it out loud in an interview, but I was in a room with Kenny Dillingham in March, and he was talking about their transfer portal strategy. And it's about roster balance. It's not just about who can help you contribute and can we just come in and recruit over everybody. I think he thinks it's really important to have, if you have a position with four players, to have a freshman, sophomore, junior, and a senior.
Yeah.
I think that that's really, really important to him, and I think it's a big part of his philosophy. They're going to fill this roster with some transfer portal guys that might not come in and contribute. And a lot of people think the only reason that you take from the transfer portal is to bring somebody in that you feel like is going to play. Well, look at Jeff Sims, right? They pinpointed Sam Levitt as their starter and who they were going to invest in Jeff Sims was brought in so that you could have somebody who get some senior leadership who had eligibility left with the option to potentially come back next year because you already had a super senior in Trenton Bourget on the team. So look at some of these players that they bring in and pay attention to the roster as well. Some of the guys they bring in are going to be for, potential leadership and maybe not instant impact because he's looking to make sure that you still carry a traditionally balanced college football roster that you would have gotten from only recruiting high school kids and grad transfers.
Yeah, it's a complete balance. I feel like that's the theme of this episode is balance. And we'll talk about balancing the college football playoff prep along with transfer portal, balancing everything, including also more sound on Kenny from recruiting. That's all going to be coming up soon. I want to remind everybody, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I also forgot to mention this. This is actually the most important news of the day. All of our super chats this week are going towards Operation Santa Claus. Every single one. Straight to them, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Get every single super chat possible in here. If it's 99 cents, if it's $300, anything in between, whatever it is, everything counts. We're giving back this week, December 15th through 17th. Please, please, please help us out with that as well. We have more from Kenny, more from Ralph, and more from you as you guys hit that like button and sound off in the comments. But first, we're going to be taking a quick break. Part of the reason that we are partnering up with Operation Santa Claus, of course, is our friends over at Sanderson Ford. There is nobody who does it better than Sanderson Ford. I was going to say just in the Valley, but in the country as well. That is why we are so proud to have Sanderson Ford as our official vehicle partner. They've prospered in Glendale for the past 70 years, family owned and operated, no hassle. No nonsense, just here to get you in the right vehicle, and however that might be, which is most likely visiting their, of course, fantastic facility and compound. It's a 65-acre facility, the largest Ford dealership in the nation. When you add up everything, retail, fleet sales, they sell more Fords than anyone in the nation. Oh, and by the way, they're America's most awarded Ford dealership for guess what? Customer satisfaction. And me talking to you, well, you're the customer. I think customer satisfaction is pretty important. Get a new 2024 F-150 truck with 3.9 APR financing for 66 months, plus up to $4,000 cash back with similar savings on over 900 new and pre-owned vehicles on the lot, all over there at Sanderson Ford. And sometimes good things come to those who wait. And that is what has happened when I bought tickets on Game Time. Back in September, I bought tickets for my beautiful wife to the Billie Eilish concert through Game Time. And guess what? This past weekend on Friday, she was finally able to live out her birthday gift. And there was no way I would have been able to afford and get those tickets because, my Lord, they cost a pretty penny if it was not for Game Time, who found the best seats at the best price and no fluff at all. I use Game Time Picks. You filter out the fluff, only get incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. And I'll tell you what, with this Billie Eilish concert, there was some concerns out there that they weren't letting some people in who had faulty tickets. Guess what? I had no concern because I got my tickets through Game Time, who are absolutely reputable, lowest price, and they even have a price match guarantee. So get your tickets, whether it's for the Peach Bowl or maybe for live music. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download their app, create an account, use code PHNX for $20 off your first purchase. Some terms do apply. So again, create an account, redeem code PHNX for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it?
Game time.
That's right, Captain Redbeard. It's game time. Welcome y'all back into PHNX Sun Devils. Erik Ruby here filling in for Anthony Totri. Ralph Amsden, the glorious Ralph Amsden, Mr. Sparky the Sun Devil himself, helping us out here on a Monday. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And I'm going to be honest with you, chat. I'm a little bit disappointed. I see no super chats right now. No super chats for the kids. Come on, it's for Operation Santa Claus. Just 99 cents. That's all I'm asking for. Help everybody out over here. Let's continue talking about transfer portal success. Kenny was asked at practice today, why? Why do recruits want to come to Tempe? This is what he had to say.
Yeah, I mean, I think people like being here. I know it sounds so boring to like such a simple, like, the end of the day, I think kids are happy here. Like, even the guys that are in the portal, we got a bunch of them still out here. Like, they're just happy here. They're enjoying it. This is an unbelievable season. I think they're treated well here. I think guys genuinely know people care about them here. I think, I mean, it's, 68 degrees out today, and we're playing for a championship in the end of December. Where else can you do that? The lifestyle's good. I just think the development is good. Guys are getting better. I think all of it is just a place where people just want to be. They like each other. And I think in this world where it's difficult to build culture, and there's, everybody says you can't build anymore, you're building teams. I'm maybe old school and I may be stuck in my ways, and even though I'm young, I still believe that culture is important. I still believe trying to retain your roster and keep your roster and keep the guys in your roster happy is still important, and I still believe in all those old school principles.
It's not a bad pitch, Ralph, and Glenn adds up and just says, winning helps. I think all of that in there makes a pretty successful equation.
Yeah, I mean, to me, Arizona State's culture is fun. Right, I've talked to you about this off camera a million times. I think that you guys at PHNX add to the culture of what Arizona State is by being representative of it. And yeah, ASU has Cronkite. They got some good journalists that come out, but for the most part, the student experience at Arizona State, it's a blast. And that's not to say it's not studious. You got to be able to do both, but it is a really, really fun place to be. And, I know you commented on the mustache goatee combo. Well, it's 40 degrees where I'm at. So, this is functional for me. I could be out in Tempe in December like I was last week in shorts and a t-shirt. And so, yeah, the weather's cool. The environment's cool. The culture is fun. And I was at the Arizona State San Diego basketball game as Arizona State just went off in that second half. I looked at the people I was sitting with and I said, the sports teams are really starting to feel like the college experience. Mm-hmm. Like it's really starting to feel like Arizona State in here. And that, to have a coach who gets it, who understands that you don't have to build a culture if you can just tap into it, And so, and it's not just him on that staff. It's Charlie Regal, it's Sean Aguano, it's Jason Mons, AJ Cooper. They all get it. They've all been around it. They all understand that it's less about building and more unlocking. And there's a reason that people like to come to Arizona State, be student athletes at Arizona State. And like Glenn said, yeah, winning certainly helps, but also not having the environment be different than what the overall experience is. Yeah, Todd Graham helped this team have discipline, but this is not a service academy. Yes, Herm Edwards was the mascot of a pro model sort of in name only, but this is a college and it's one of the most fun colleges in America. It needs to resemble a college. Yeah, you come here to train, but it's still a college. It's still fun. And you can, like Kenny Dillingham says, you can have, more fun than anybody, working harder than anybody in the country.
Yeah, that's the main thing. And I feel like that is what you have felt this season specifically as well. There's this pure joy that comes from this specific team, this football team, this program. And I was out there at practice today, and you can feel that joy. It's not that they're not taking it seriously. It's not that they're going out there and they're goofing around, but man, they were singing to celebrate good times. Come on. Like in practice, in between, like the linemen pushing the sleds down the field. They were singing. They were having a good time. It's all about kind of maintaining that. And it also comes off as authentic. If you're sitting in a meeting with somebody and you're telling them, we're going to have fun, right? We're going to enjoy this and work hard. And then they get there and the fun is gone. The fun was just in the pitch. The fun was just in the recruiting. Well, that's going to catch up to you, right? You have to deliver on that promise. And it's a hard one to deliver on, but Kenny has found such a perfect balance between those two things, competing and enjoying, and finding when to tap into both sides of it, when would it be most effective. And he's also balancing right now transfer portal windows, which is a very important time for college coaches. In fact, last year, it was the most important time for this team, and also preparing for the college football playoffs, for the Peach Bowl. And he spoke about maintaining that balance earlier today.
And it is what it is. There's always distractions, whether you're in football, in life, regardless of what you do. You got to be able to manage situations. and you got to be able to compartmentalize things. So there's times where you got to focus on football. There's times where you got to focus on the portal. There's times where you got to focus on your own guys. I mean, it's just part of it. I mean, it's always balancing multiple things.
You know, being a head football coach in the current landscape of where college athletics is maybe the opposite of an easy thing. And not trying to sound too biased here, Ralph, but I don't know if there's another coach more well-equipped to handle what's going on right now than Kenny Dillingham.
I agree with you, and he doesn't have a lot of experience other than this. And that's one of the advantages of being kind of close to the ground, maybe younger in age. Even though he's not necessarily young in experience, Memphis was playing deep into December every year. When Kenny Dillingham was at Florida State, recruiting is war there. Same with Oregon, same with Auburn. And in the position that he was in as offensive coordinator, either in name only or actually functioning offensive coordinator, the recruiting never ends. It's an enormous part of what you do, especially if you're not actually the one calling the plays and you're just carrying that title. The people that you get on campus is a relentless exercise. And so whether it was at Memphis, where he helped get Kenneth Gainwell in right before heading off to, I think, Auburn, or Oregon when he helped bring Bo Nix in for the second time, or when he stole AJ Duffy out from under Arizona State when he was at Florida State. It's just been a relentless exercise for him, going all the way back to when he was a grad assistant at Arizona State. And he had a pretty good relationship with five-star running back Keenan Walker, to the point where they gave him like a hashtag nickname on they called him the Eagle on Twitter, and the NCAA came out and changed the rules to say that you can't nickname a recruit. That was Kenny Dillingham's doing in his early 20s at Arizona State. So December has always been a really active time for him, because he's either going from one job to another to position himself to get the Arizona State job, or he's recruiting some of the best prospects in the country. So, yes, it's hectic, but you kind of see that sparkle in his eye saying, like, yeah, you're in my world now, Grandma. Like, this is where I live.
This is where he wants to be as well. I think if he could choose, he would choose for it to be like this, prepping for the most important game of your career and looking ahead to next season and saying, how can we get better, and finding a way to do both effectively. I want to remind everybody that all Super Chats today are going to Operation Santa Claus. Please, 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 even if it's just 99 cents, help us out with that. Ryan Tan Construction in the chat says, Deuce in Tyson. I think we've gone far enough in. We do have to talk about Deuce Robinson, Ralph, as somebody who's been very tapped in with the Arizona high school football landscape for however many years. Not many players have come through like Deuce Robinson out of my rival high school of Pinnacle as well. Of course, he's in the transfer portal out of USC. Of course, he was one of the recruits who visited Arizona State. How massive would it be for this staff to get a player like Deuce Robinson coming off of this specific season?
It would be the crowning achievement of this whole deal, because, and I got to be honest, I got to speak for Arizona State fans right now. How many ASU fans believe that the Sun Devils are winning a national title? Like, and I know a lot of people are enjoying the ride, but how many people believe, as much as you'd believe we'd have a shot at Deuce Robinson, do you believe that we're going to be playing for a national championship? So I think for a lot of fans, landing Deuce Robinson would be the best that it can get, because I still don't think there's a ton of Arizona State fans who think that this ride isn't going to end at some point, especially on the side of the bracket that would include Oregon in the second round. So I think for a lot of people, it would be like winning a national championship, getting the most physically talented receiver that the state of Arizona has seen since Mark Andrews. And this is a state that includes, guys like Brendan Rice and, Christian Kirk, that, the physical gifts of Deuce Robinson had newspaper articles being written about him when he chose a high school. So, and this isn't a transfer for baseball based on when he's entering the portal. He wouldn't be eligible to play baseball this season. So he's interested in being a football player, and he's interested in positioning himself to get to that next level. And everyone in the country is going to be a suitor. So if Arizona State can land Deuce Robinson, I think that's probably as good as it gets in a lot of fans' minds. And it will be the beginning of, unless you believe that Cole Martin was the beginning of it, of this philosophy of Kenny Dillingham saying, let them go. Let them go. Let them get a bag. We'll
And they'll
be
come
here
back
waiting for them if they're good enough. And for a lot of people who might not remember, Deuce Robinson was somebody Kenny Dillingham referenced a lot when he first got this job, when he was saying, yeah, there's a guy out there who knows he would change our program.
Yeah.
That's who he was talking about, was Deuce Robinson. And obviously he made his way over to USC. Hasn't worked out for whatever reason. But to be in the mix for him, it just shows how awesome things have gotten in such a short amount of time for ASU.
It feels realistic, right? Like before it felt like a long shot. It was like, oh man, yeah, if Deuce Robinson comes, that would be fantastic because of how much of a long shot it is. Now it's like, oh wow, like we can see the path, and not just in a biased sense of we won it for Arizona State, but as far as this might be the best football decision for the kid, right? Heisman candidate Sam Leavitt is playing like a top 10 quarterback right now. Clearly, like seeing what you've done with Jordyn Tyson, what you've done with Shimon Matire, what you've done with Xavier Guillory when Tyson has gone down, right? Like there is a clear method and plan for a player like him to come in here and absolutely dominate. And if he's able to do that, if Kenny's able to grab him, I mean, I'm already excited about next season, but you mentioned who believes that they will win a national championship. We have two Glens in the chat saying that they believe. I believe they have a chance. Of course, it's going to be hard to put money down on that. We appreciate the two of you that have super chatted. I'm going to read those after this break. Reminder to everybody, all super chats going towards Operation Santa Claus, a fantastic cause. And I'm going to kick to a break, and I'm just going to tease. It is Ralph's favorite sponsor, and you will all know why as we enter another break. Can I tell you about my friends over at Circle K? Would you like to join the inner circle? Listen, if you don't know why Circle K is Ralph's favorite place to go, just Google Ralph Amsden, Circle K, and he'll let you know. But I'll let you know exactly why you should love Circle K in the inner circle. That's because it is a free membership program designed simply to do one thing, and that is to save you money, right? It's free to join. And what do you get when you join the inner circle? You get 25 cents off per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. That's a big chunk of change. It doesn't stop there. 3 cents off per gallon on every fill-up after that, unlimited fill-ups, and eventually that goes up to 5 cents off per gallon. Espo calls it the Espo level. So many other people get it, so I'm not going to call it the Espo level. Also, more than just gas deals, deals on drinks, deals on snacks, deals on everything you could possibly imagine, all at Circle K. Join the inner circle for free. Download the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions do apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. If you're watching on video, check out this sexy hat right here. A brand new branded Bills. How fresh is that logo right there? Pretty dang fresh, because branded Bills is the perfect headwear and apparel, and you can elevate your brand like I am right now with branded Bills. It is the best feeling hat. It is the best looking hat. They have so many different designs. This is a new one for ASU, the Sparky logo. Listen to that. That's a nice rubber thing. I don't know what to call it. Rubber emblem, design, logo, doesn't matter. It's good. It's good quality. I like to wear mine backwards. I'm just a backwards hat kind of guy, so everybody behind me can see the beautiful logo, but you can rep branded Bills as well. Truckered, fitted, beanies, tees, snapbacks. Branded Bills has you covered with performance and style, partnerships with ASU, and charity work with a school like the University of Arizona, a local company. So head to brandedbills.com, use code PHNX for 20% off your first order. We are back with Ralph. We are back with y'all's super chats. I appreciate every single one of you. Let's read some of these super chats that are all going towards Operation Santa Claus. Starting off with Jacob, 499 super chat from Jacob. Thank you. Jacob says, now we just have to figure out how to fill the stadium out next season. Buy season tickets, everybody. Ralph, do you feel like they're going to have trouble selling tickets next season? Because I have a feeling they're going to be in high demand.
I think so. You know what I loved was Kenny Dillingham challenging the students to break records.
Yes.
And if you want, like, if I could point to anything off the football field that was indicative of this year's results on the football field, it would be that. that Kenny Dillingham is out here challenging anybody and everybody to go above and beyond, compete with yourself. And I think that's what he brings to every room that he's in, is a spirit of competition, just looking for the people who are willing to be inconvenienced to do something great. Right? Yeah, a lot of people coming to the stadium is going to change the way that people attend games. You're not going to be able to cut it as close leaving the house anymore. I went up onto the concourse in the Wyoming game. I got stuck there for 30 minutes. But that's part of it. Like, are you willing to be subjected to the inconveniences that greatness demands? And I think he's toughening up the fan base. I think he's filling that stadium out. And I do think that they're going to have a really, really easy time for the first time in a while selling tickets.
Yeah, I'm excited because I also believe in the athletic department as well. Graham Rossini, they all have their head on straight. They know how to attack this moment. They've been attacking this moment. It's massive crowds at the end of the season when they were making a run. And now that you are Big 12 champions, you have an entire offseason of branding yourself as Big 12 champions. And depending on how far you go, right? That's national exposure. Maybe there are ASU fans who went to ASU, but they're still not really tapped in. Like, you force their hand at this point. And this is a fan base that across all sports has shown up before. You just need the success to come first. Even Kenny acknowledged that. And guess what? The success is here. Thank you for your super chat, Jacob. Next super chat from Glenn, 199. Thank you. Glenn says, are you guys going to the bowl game? Yes and no. Anthony Totri and the Deli Man, Shane Diefenbach, will be boots on the ground for the Peach Bowl in Atlanta. Captain Redbeard and myself will be holding it down here in State 48. We'll be doing a live watch party from Gila River Resorts and Casinos Wild Horse Pass, and I will be doing a live watch along during the watch party from that event so we can all hang out during the game. We'll still have a post-game show with Totri and I. We'll just be kind of calling into each other. It's going to be a great time. We're going to have well-rounded coverage, but Anthony Totri and Shane Diefenbach will have you covered with everything from Atlanta himself. So keep your eyes out for that and come hang out, have some free drinks with me on January 1st. Final super chat, $9.99 from Sharon. Thank you, Sharon. Says, life is beautiful for Sun Devil fans this December. Ain't that the truth? Thank you all for your super chats. Reminder, all super chats going towards Operation Santa Claus. Of course, life is beautiful, Ralph, because we are like 16 days, 15 days away from the Peach Bowl. It's pretty dang close, man. It is pretty dang close. And Kenny talked earlier today about the prep and conditioning going into the Peach Bowl at this current moment.
We're not preparing for that game yet. We're preparing for us. We're trying to fix some things that we got to get better at, trying to fine-tune some things from our perspective and get our conditioning level back up, which is why we started practice a little bit different today. And we'll do that the next 2 days and try to kind of flush the system, get back to a good mindset. We haven't played a 4-quarter football game. When we play in the Peach Bowl, it would have been 6 months since we played 4 quarters of football. Our starters didn't play in the last quarter of the U of A game. They didn't play the last quarter of last week's game. So it's going to be literally six weeks, and since they played 4 full quarters of football. And that's the number one thing I'm trying to balance right now is that. How do you keep these guys in conditioning shape when it's going to be 6 weeks since they've played a real full football game?
Yeah, the burden of success. Gosh, we've been winning our past football games by so much we couldn't play in the fourth quarter. Good problems to have, Ralph.
Yeah. I mean, it gets you into rest versus rust debate for sure. But, that's why I didn't want to buy. I wanted to play the day after the Big 12 championship as soon as possible because, fires died down, and I'm not sure that Arizona State's fire could have been burning any brighter than it was over the last few weeks. And so that's going to be a huge challenge, is to make sure that people stay focused, to make sure that people stay in shape. There's just a lot going on. And if you're not necessarily a team or group of players that's conditioned to playing through multiple holidays, it can be a unique challenge. And it's not like this staff.
Oh, sorry, we lost you there for a second, Ralph. But I think I understood what you were putting down as far as the unique challenges that are presented to a team that was not expecting to be in this situation, right? And I share slight, I don't want to say concern or worry, but just like something to take note of as far as not playing for this long and then going and playing in the most important game of your life against presumably a Texas team, maybe an on-fire Clemson team, both that present their own unique challenges. But the thing that reassures me is how these teams attacked after bye weeks, right? Like they were fully prepared. And then also earlier today, Kenny was talking about, hey, everybody just took a week off. Everybody just went home. Players, coaches, everybody took the week for themselves, right? And then they came back and somebody asked him, like, what was it like getting people reacclimated, like locked in? He said, before everybody was 5 minutes early to all the meetings. He's like, today, our meeting started 11 minutes early. He's like, we're over doubling that. He's like, we're prepared. We're ready for this. And the question was asked, what does that say about your group to have players in this position? They've already proven so much. They've already shocked the world and expectations. They took a week off and they're back better than before. This is what Kenny had to say. That said about his team.
If you're satisfied, like, now, like, golly, something's wrong. Like, you have an opportunity to be one of 8 teams left in college football playing for something. Like, you hear him right now. Like, that's awesome. Like, that's exciting. But if you're satisfied when you have a chance to be one of 8 teams left in a sport that started with over 130, and you're like, oh, well, we made it. Like, golly, that'd be disappointing to me. Because I think we're different than that. And I think the fact that they showed up shows that they're different than that. That, we're going to, game by game, day by day, we're going to be the very best versions of us and see how far we go. See where it takes us.
Is there an argument to be made that possibly this extended layoff could actually benefit Arizona State because of how smart their coaching staff is, because of how well prepared they are, and because they still do have this chip on their shoulder to keep them motivated in this time, that getting this time to rest and get your mentals right actually could be a positive for them?
You could certainly spin it that way, but you end up with the same amount of time to prepare as your opponent. Well, actually, both of your opponents know if they wanted to look ahead, they've got Arizona State waiting. Arizona State's going to have to prepare for 2 different teams. So I don't know. I think that it would definitely have been better for ASU to keep playing the hot hand. But all you have here is an opportunity. And if Kenny Dillingham is saying that the kids are taking this seriously, that the coaches are taking this seriously, and yeah, they've shown that their strengths are in preparation. But I think the best thing that can happen for ASU is Texas winning. That's the best thing that can happen for ASU.
Why?
Because they're going to get slapped with that immediate, probably -9.5, maybe -10.5. And that, and then it's over. Then the work is done for you. You got a bunch of players who used to be at Texas. You got a bunch of players who played high school football in Texas. You have the entire national media saying that Texas would have the easiest path, that their super easy regular season will have continued into the college football playoff. If Texas beats Clemson, then so much of that work is done for you.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I think that there is an argument to be made that the more that this team gets disrespected, it's like infinity stones, right? Like they just keep collecting it and becomes more powerful. I tweeted out a clip from Big 12 Media Day when we were out there in Vegas, and I asked Kenny, like, do you show your team the fact that they were picked last? And he goes, yeah. He said, thank you. He goes, that gets my competitive juices going. Thank you. And even though like the Texas thing could just come out there and then that's the instant disrespect, they've been giving breadcrumbs and maybe full pieces of bread of disrespect along the way, with the worldwide leader not understanding the difference between the University of Arizona, a program and a team so down in the dumps they know what the garbage can looks like, and then the Arizona State University Sun Devils are in the college football playoffs, right? Like the disrespect there continues to be fed, and I feel like they're going to take all of that, internalize it, and turn it into motivation. And the Tex, if it is Texas, and we'll get a little bit more into who you on paper would maybe prefer to play. If it is Texas, and that going into that game and Arizona State wins that game, that is for a program that's already seen the shift, for a program that's already seen such a big, just movement as far as who we are as a school, as a team, as a coach, beating the Texas Longhorns when nobody believed you could in the Peach Bowl to move and advance in the college football playoffs is the ultimate who you gonna doubt now moment, because it sure as hell couldn't be them at that point.
Absolutely. And Sark's beat up on us a couple of times when he was with USC, and Arizona State didn't show up in 2007 in the Holiday Bowl, I believe it was, against Texas. So we kind of owe him one. We lost an athletic director to him once. Not that either school is too worried about that anymore. But I do want to circle back to this whole ESPN putting University of Arizona's logo on the screen. That happened with Sam Acho in front of the prompter, right? That's the one that bothers me. Sam, you played here for 4 years. Your side business on advising athletes in their finances is run with several other Sun Devils. If anybody should know what a pitchfork looks like, it is Sam Acho. So I'm mostly mad at Sam for not just stopping that segment in its tracks until they fixed it. I know it wasn't his fault, but he's surrounded by so much maroon and gold all the time. I mean, he works with Zach Miller on a daily basis. What is going on? I hope he's on a text chain with a bunch of those guys and they gave him hell.
Yeah, so Acho, I think immediately while he was there and it was on, he corrected it. But there has to be some sort of order of operations of checking this thing, man. There are 12 freaking teams in the college football playoffs, man. The logos don't look the same. The colors aren't the same. They're not even both contending for it. It is insane. And it wasn't the only time. Maybe I'll rant again against ESPN. But first, we will be taking our final break. Let me tell y'all about Rugged Road. They're dedicated to creating innovative, hey, there's a buzzword there, and durable outdoor gear for adventurers who demand the best. Their products are designed with the highest quality materials and craftsmanship, ensuring they perform in the toughest conditions, whether you're on land or in water. Rugged Road is gear built to accompany you on every adventure. It's lightweight, durable, dependable, and the best part about it is, let's just say your outdoor adventure is tailgating, right? And you're going out on a Saturday afternoon and you're putting your drinks in there with your ice and whatever. Maybe you forgot to take everything out and you're tailgating next weekend, back-to-back home games. Guess what? You're going to open up that cooler 7 days later and your contents are still going to be cool. Your ice is still going to be in there. That is how beautiful Rugged Road is. Get ready for your adventures with Rugged Road coolers. Head to ruggedroadoutdoors.com. Use code PHNX for 10% off your order. Lightweight, durable, always floating upright. Perfect on land or in water. Leave that old heavy cooler at home and get yourself a better cooler for the new season. Rugged Road, your ultimate outdoor companion. Also, shout out to our friends over at Saturday Neon. We have a Saturday Neon sign right in my eye line, right above Captain Redbeard. It's like his halo, except for it's a pitchfork, baby, because it's representing your Arizona State Sun Devils. Saturday Neon was started by two college friends. It is officially licensed collegiate logo LED neon signs, perfect for your home, office, dorm room, fan cave, bar, whatever it is. A perfect Christmas gift, or maybe just a gift for yourself. Unlike traditional neon, these LED signs won't break or shatter, but still give you that classic uniform glow that you know and love. They last up to 100,000 hours, so be enjoying your sign for years to come. And of course, super easy to install, low voltage, the perfect gift. Use code PHNX for 10% off, the perfect gift off your order at SaturdayNeon.com. Between me and you, they don't just have ASU stuff. So if maybe a fan in your life is a fan of another school, Olive Branch, get them a Saturday Neon sign. We're rounding things out here with the one, the only Ralph Amsden. Appreciate everybody tapping in on this Monday. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. Get us to 35,000 subscribers, because without you guys, we would not be sitting here right now able to do this. And of course, a final reminder for the new ones in here, all of your super chats, every last pretty penny is going to Operation Santa Claus. Make sure you get your super chats in today. Ralph, let's talk on the field, right? You talked about off the field, preferring a Texas win over Clemson because of the disrespect that it would shoot directly into the veins of your Arizona State Sun Devils. But that disrespect comes because most people would predict that Texas is a better team and Texas would beat Clemson and then beat Arizona State. Would you rather see on the field Texas or maybe the untraditional answer in Clemson?
Well, I do want Texas. I do think
Okay.
it's more important for Arizona State. But if I'm being objective, Texas is a better team with they've got kind of weapon X in Colin Simmons coming off the edge. That's the best, maybe the best defensive player left in the entire college football playoff. And so when you're talking about a player that is that effective, getting to the quarterback, is that disruptive? Is that violent with his hands? Is that quick off the line of scrimmage? And, they got a linebacker who plays right behind him that can do a lot of the same stuff. That gives you some pause. Now, Clemson's a little bit beat up in the running back room. Cade Klubnik has been inconsistent. Their refusal to use the portal means that they are still in development mode and play a lot of second-year guys who are getting better, who are getting great coaching. But you're probably not going to face as many NFL-ready upperclassmen. And so, I think that Las Vegas would look at a Clemson-Arizona State matchup as a little bit more favorable. But I want Texas. The thing about a college football tournament that I think is different than a college basketball tournament is if you really are who you think you are, then it shouldn't matter. You should be ready to go up against anybody at any time. So I want the best possible matchup, the toughest possible matchup. I want Texas.
You're a better man than me because I'm salivating at the chance to play the Clemson Tigers. Their weaknesses play into Arizona State's strengths. Their run defense is one of the worst in their conference. Of course, we have Cam Skattebo. And kind of on the opposite end, Texas's defense, their run defense, like you mentioned, coming off the edge, they are suffocating. And that's the type of team, a defensive-oriented team in Texas, that will translate into these big-time games, right? Sometimes your offense, your running back, your quarterback, it's harder to get those guys in rhythm in a game like this. Defense travels well in any sport. But I'm not saying that in the fact that I'm scared of Texas. I'm not scared of any team, man. We can play Oregon. We can play Georgia. I wouldn't consider myself scared. Right. But I'm also looking at, I'm going to be at Gila River Resorts and Casinos, Wild Horse Pass for our watch party on January 1st, and I want to party. Okay? I don't want to clutch my pearls until the very last second. Baby, I want to blow them out. I want to dominate. So give me Clemson, but I ain't scared of you, Texas. I also would love to get paid to just rain on Dabo Sweeney's parade, baby. That would be the absolute dream. So feed me, Clemson. But when it comes to Texas, what's the recipe for you, Ralph? If they're playing the better team, the team that some people are picking to win it all in Texas, what's the recipe to beat the Longhorns?
Be as physical as possible on the defensive side of the football. They're tough, but they're not overwhelm you tough offensively. And then defensively, Sam Leavitt picks up first downs with his legs. I think a mobile quarterback is going to work wonders because Georgia beat him twice without that. And if you think about it, Gunnar Stockton, he won the game with his legs, even though his helmet got knocked off, right? You don't want that to happen to Sam Leavitt. But you can move the sticks with a mobile quarterback. It gives you a few more options. And so, I would expect it to be a low-scoring game. I would expect it to look like an NFL-style game. But as long as you're not turning the ball over, which Arizona State doesn't do a lot of, then it just comes down to, can you make a big play here and there? Can you win a couple of one-on-one matchups? And coaching and scheming. And I think Kenny Dillingham's staff is very good. Very good. And I think that there are some people on Kenny Dillingham's staff who have previously been offered jobs or have worked for Sark.
Yeah.
So, it's not like Sark doesn't respect what the rest of this staff can do. yeah, I just think it really comes down to taking care of the football, picking and choosing your spots, and just being as physical as humanly possible on the defensive side of the football. That doesn't mean that you have to hit the quarterback or get home over and over again, but that means you put a body on a body when the running back gets the ball, or you interfere with their receivers 5 to 7 yards off the line of scrimmage. Or if somebody comes over the middle, you do let him catch the ball. Shamari Simmons, in the second half, takes care of business.
We got to talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so Kenny was asked today, I don't have the sound from this, but Kenny was asked, where is your appeal standing for Shamari Simmons? He said that earlier last week, he heard back from the Big 12, and they said no. They said, Shamari Simmons, you will not be playing in the first half. Kenny did say he's going to try his hardest to continue to appeal, continue to talk to them, and try to enlighten them a little bit more about the situation, how Rocco Beck put his head down. Shamari's tackled like that before, and it hasn't been targeting. It's just more of a bang-bang play, situational circumstances. As of right now, Ralph, I would plan on no Shamari Simmons in the first half. It's going to be a little bit of a mountain to climb, no matter who they play.
Yeah, but I heard we might be getting somebody in named Romari Rimmons,
who
wears
huge.
number 17 and is only eligible for the first half. How about that?
I actually saw Romari at practice as well. Romari Rimmons looked great. Really, really coming on as a redshirt freshman here for your Arizona State Sun Devils. But yeah, Ralph, I appreciate you joining us. Do you have any final thoughts on where we stand as Sun Devils, where we stand in the transfer portal leading up to the Peach Bowl? Because, whether you want to admit it or not, you have been one of the shining lights through all the darkness that's been the last couple of years, and you've been here every step along the way. So do you have any final thoughts on where we find ourselves today on Monday, December 16th?
Yeah, I do. You're going to hear a lot of people start to talk about rat poison. You know how when you're younger, you can drink a little more, you can eat a little more sugar, you can stay up a little later. We're very young in all this, and I'm going to say gobble up as much of that rat poison as you possibly can. You see Sam Levitt getting Heisman hype for next year, spread it around. You want to hope against hope that Deuce Robinson chooses Arizona State. You want to Google Deuce Robinson high school highlights and stay up an hour later learning about some 6'6", 230-pound wide receiver that may or may not come here. Do all of that. Participate in all the things. We can worry about the effect that rat poison has on us as fans when we're in year 2 or 3 of doing this in a row. And it really is bad for our health to buy into all the hype. But as it stands right now, soak this in. Enjoy it. Subscribe to PHNX.
Oh, that's a great one.
Yes, do all of the things because that rat poison it doesn't do anything to young stomachs. So I think we'll be okay if we celebrate the hype and enjoy the moment, and we'll worry about the effects of it down the road.
Enjoy it. I think that's the main thing along all of this. The job's not done, and it wasn't done going into the Big 12 championship, but you had to take a step back. You just had to enjoy the whole dang thing because I fully expect us to be a powerhouse. I'm sorry if I'm eating the rat poison. I'm not sorry, though. I fully expect us to carry this season and the next season and the next decade plus. There's nothing about this team that's inorganic. There's nothing about this team that's microwave success. No, despite how fast it's been, it's still a 5-star meal. This is still being built the right way. The bamboo was just in some damn good soil. Right? And that's why it's growing so fast. So you can look back at your yield, at your harvest, and you can be proud of it, but also understand that, it still goes on. It still continues. And of course, if you're watching on TV anywhere, the party always continues over at GoPHNX.com, not just with Sun Devils, but Suns, Cardinals, Diamondbacks, Wildcats, all of the above, all over at GoPHNX.com. We do have another super chat in here if you guys want to get some last super chats in, because they all help benefit Operation Santa Claus. Make sure you do that. This super chat coming from Short Bus, of course, a classic joke from our resident comedian diehard, $1.99. Thank you, Short Bus. Says, Santa owes me legs that work. Yeah. I don't think that one hits as well when I read it.
Got it, Santa.
Yeah, come on, Santa. Balls in your court, Santa. Again, if anybody else wants to get a last-minute super chat in, make sure you send that now before we sign off. Ralph is always so gracious with his time and also always so gracious as far as spreading the good word of PHNX. And he does that, without shining light on all the things that he's doing as well, which shines a light on the type of person that Ralph is. But I don't care, Ralph. I'm shining a light on everything that you're doing as well, because it is massively important to the Sun Devil community, and you have been a part of that for a very long time. Of course, Sun Devil Spaces on Wednesday nights. You had a Ben Coleman in there last week, did you not?
Yeah, had Ben Coleman and Graham Rossini, and then chatted it up with Demario Richard this last week. It was a lot of fun.
I mean, that sounds like a wonderful place. I pop in there from time to time when I'm not with my head below water with everything going on over here at PHNX. It's a fantastic place.
You pop in with the energy you have right now.
Oh, yeah.
And when you pop in, it's about 1:30 in the morning for me. So it's always like a nice dose of caffeine into the process that inevitably goes on for 90 more minutes after that.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate that. I don't turn off, Ralph. A lot of people don't know this, but I'm just like this all the time. Like, this is just me, even when I'm tired as well. Like, there's no faking going on over here. This is just how I operate. Of course, you are also the producer of the Unafraid show as well. If you want a more widespread angle of college athletics and college football, make sure you follow at Unafraid show. And of course, you can follow Ralph at Ralph Amsden. He's also the host of the ASU Forkcast as well. He does so much for this community. Make sure that you support Ralph just by throwing him a follow on social media as well. I appreciate every single person who is in here today. Chad, Sharon, Short Buzz, BC, Will, Emily, Glenn, both the Glens, Sun Devil 1982, all of you. We appreciate Rickety Bridge in here as well. Thank you, all of you who also super chatted. That will continue going through tomorrow. Operation Santa Claus getting all of our super chats. You can catch me on the PHNX Sun show. That's going to be live in just about 28 minutes. So I will be over there with a special guest. If you want to keep the party going, of course, subscribe to PHNX Sports. 300 subscribers away from 35K. If you have not hit that subscribe button, it helps us out so much more than you might realize. And if I hadn't mentioned, it is 100% free as well. Hit the like button on this video. Kenny Dillingham's full press conference from today will be up on our YouTube channel later today. Make sure you keep your eye out for that one. You can follow Ralph on Twitter at Ralph Amsden. You can follow myself at Erik Ruby. That's ERIKRUBY. You can follow Captain Redbeard behind the Mac, making all the magic happen at K Coop Sports. And of course, you can follow the show at PHNX_Sun Devils for when Deuce Robinson eventually commits. We'll have that news for you right here, right on PHNX Sun Devils. Until tomorrow with maybe Anthony Totri, maybe not. Go Devils and peace.
We all silly like the mayor.